I'm Coach Amber, and welcome to the Meet RX Success Story podcast. Today we have a special guest with us. She's one of our own coaches, Coach Trudy. Welcome, Coach Trudy.
Thank you, Amber. It's very good to be here. Thank you for having me on today.
I'm happy you joined us. So let's get started. Can you give us a little bit of an idea of what your life was like prior to starting the animal-based diet, meat-based diet, whatever you want to classify it as? I'm very interested to hear, like, what were you eating? What was your, philosophy? What was your health like? We really want to know the health issues if you had any. And
okay,
go for it.
Sure. Well, I came from, as a kid, having a lot of food allergies and environmental allergies. And I was an athlete and lived on a farm, so I ate a lot of meat back then, but I had all these food allergies and environmental allergies. And then I developed a disorder, and I struggled with that for a lot of years. And unfortunately, it affected my athleticism too. As I dove into the disorder, I found my athletic success was going downhill. And it wasn't until many years later that I realized why. So yeah, I got a handle on the disorder, and then I got married and had a family. And yeah, I just was pretty healthy through all that, just feeding healthy kids. And somewhere in the middle of my life, I had a bit of a challenge, a little blip. I had a relationship issue, and the trigger got flipped back on, or the switch got flipped back on my disorder, and things got out of hand a bit. And then I struggled, but mentally overcame it again. And then I just started on this journey of looking for why do I have this inflammation thing? I used to have terrible periods. Of course, have been on the other side of that for several years now, but my eyesight wasn't so great, and I didn't realize at that time that I had an aggressive form of cataracts. I'll talk a little bit about that later. My hair was always so stringy. My nails were so weak. My skin, I had terrible oily skin and blackheads. So I just wasn't confident. I had a low self-worth, even though I was raising these 4 healthy daughters. And so in just researching different ways, what could I do for my health? What could I do to perhaps reduce the inflammation? I stumbled onto an elimination diet. This was several years ago. And then that kind of led me to doing Whole30s. And keep in mind, I had yo-yo dieted a lot through my lifetime. And then from the Whole30s, I went into paleo, and then I even did some juicing. And then I heard all these friends doing keto, and yeah, so that's kind of, and then I came to carnivore, and I think that answers your question. I had inflammation, lower back pain, hair, nails, terrible cataracts, all that.
Okay, give me an idea of what you were eating. You mentioned a little bit, but like name some specific things. Were you eating a lot of wheat kind of items, sugar, processed foods? What was it?
Yeah, what you guys would call the standard American diet, a lot of that. And I had, unfortunately, wheat was one of my allergies, and all those food allergies I had supposedly had kind of grown out of, I realized really those were causing inflammation, even though I was still eating them because I thought I had outgrown them. That's what I was told. I ate a lot of inflammatory foods, didn't know at the time they were inflammatory, but I was big nut and peanut butter was one of my go-tos. And I would snitch some candies and have my little closet that was just me. The kids weren't allowed. The hubby at that time wasn't allowed. It was just foods that I would eat. And I was, then those kind of turned over to healthy foods, right? And so I was making changes along the way. But yeah, I was eating, what you feed your kids, right? So pizza, lasagna, chips. We'd have family night, big bowls of popcorn. We could consume all of that in one sitting, just not healthy eating, really. If you look back on it, we thought we were being healthy back then, doing all the things you thought, and just having occasional treats here and there. So yeah, that was where I came from. I came through that.
I hear you. Okay, just out of curiosity,
Yeah.
when you say healthy foods, did
Yeah.
that include low fat and seed
Yeah.
oils? Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got the message of low fat. I mean, back in the day, I did Weight Watchers when I was a teenager with my mom. That's where it all started. And then that's where I kind of dived off into my first bout with disordered eating. So yeah, I low fat, choose low fat. I ate oatmeal every morning. I put oat bran on. I fed it to my kids for years and years and years. And my husband at the time was a farmer, and lots of potatoes, lots of, we ate a lot of beef and meat as well, but there was a lot of starchy foods. And even well, it's part of my story. I found out about oxalates last fall, and the list of oxalate foods, I've been eating lots of those for my whole lifetime. Yes.
I totally get it. I can relate. I did the same exact thing, all under the guise of healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we know better now,
Spinach,
right?
almonds, spinach,
Oh,
almonds,
yeah.
Brussels sprouts. Like, what? Yeah.
Spinach. Yeah.
Mhm.
Bye.
Kale.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah, I hear you. Oh, okay. So when you transitioned into carnivore or meat-based diet, whatever you want to
yeah.
call it, what did you eat? And did you include
Okay.
dairy, eggs,
Okay.
anything that might be different? How many times a day did you eat? And did you have any transitional issues?
Okay. So I want to kind of roll back to when I went keto, which was February 2019. That's when I started to see a lot of changes and improvements in my life. I dropped a ton of weight. But for going keto, in the first several months, I became adapted. I remember having a week period of time at the gym. I just didn't have any energy. It took me a while to transition into that lifestyle. And then I was training to do, I have a point with this. I was training to do a week-long hiking adventure with a group of ladies where you take your own food in, you backpack, and you tent and you camp. And so I was really adapted fat-wise. I was down to 1 or 2 meals a day. It was working out perfectly. And I stumbled across the carnivore diet, and I didn't want to go there until I got through with my trip, because I was adapted. I didn't want to have an incidence of disaster pants out on the trail. And I felt really good and comfortable. But also during that keto time, it became a point where I was eating too many treats. So it's like I had a treat license. It's okay. It's a keto treat. It's all those artificial sugars and almond flour and all that stuff. So those kind of foods, I think, were causing me grief. So I'm not sure if I answered your question. Going into then transitioning into carnivore, I didn't really have any issues transitioning because it came from keto, but it also adopted the fasting lifestyle alongside of the carnivore. So I'm going to say after I had about a 3-day fast and no problems, then eating meat only, my favorite meats, just did that. Just did actually pretty much what Sean says to do. Just eat meat. And that's what I was doing. Then I did an extended fast in the fall, and then I had this huge oxalate dumping thing that happened that led me to find out about oxalates. I didn't know it was oxalate dumping at the time. And so I did have some issues in that. I had some gastro issues as I was getting rid of all these things. And I was concerned that perhaps it was the carnivore diet. And that's what led me to find out about oxalates. And then that was like, oh my gosh, okay, this is another piece to the puzzle. And I felt the best. I looked the best that I've ever looked. And my hair started growing, and my nails and my skin. So I don't know did that answer?
Yeah, but could you go in a little bit more detail? Like,
Yeah.
tell us what is typical of what you eat in a day,
Oh,
even the
absolutely.
amount. Some people are very interested to know, like, how much of
Okay.
what you eat and how many
Okay.
times a day do you eat?
Well, if you go back to earlier carnivore, I was eating whenever I was hungry. You know, I would eat just fatty types of meat. Just ate until I was full. My tastes have changed and evolved a little bit since even the first of carnivore journey. I like hamburger. I like beef liver. It's one of my favorites. I could actually eat beef liver every day. Bacon is a go-to. Have a bacon license now. It's so cool because stayed away from bacon because we thought that was bad for us, you know, because it was fat. So yeah, I eat a lot of, I love steaks. I love a good ribeye. I probably grew up more on like sirloin strips as a kid when out on the farm. I love lamb because we raised sheep and pigs. That's where I grew up. And I love a good fatty lamb piece of lamb roast. I love lamb roast. I just haven't had one in years. I love, and pork belly. I'm quite fond of just pork belly now too. So the fattier the better. In regards to amounts, I don't measure. That's why I got out of keto. It was one of the reasons I got out of keto. I didn't want to track anything. And I heard it was so simple. And I actually didn't even really start weighing my food till a couple weeks ago. I went out and got a scale because one of the coaches on MeatRx, I just thought, you know what, maybe I should have my own scale, see how much I'm actually eating. So I don't know exactly, but I'm going to guess it's somewhere between a pound and 2 pounds a day that I would eat in meat. And right now I'm on an alternate day fasting protocol. So I only eat once every other day, but I will change it up and I will say on a special occasion, I'll eat a couple meals and during the day, but I have been doing intermittent fasting ever since I went keto. That worked really good for my body. So I mix in some longer day fasts, several day fasts in with my routine now. So I don't know, so I don't know how much I eat in a day, just whatever I feel like. So
Perfect. That's awesome.
yeah.
And I got a little secret. I do not like fatty meat and I do not like liver. No, I tried. I do not like it. So kudos to you. And I
Yeah.
know I shouldn't even call myself a carnivore. How rude, because I do not like fatty meat. I don't like fatty meat. I cannot do it. It absolutely
Yeah.
gags me. I don't know. I've tried, but anyway. So,
Well,
well, kudos for you.
the
That's great.
fattier cuts that seem to work better for my body. And I even did a longer day fast. I did like 21-day fast recently where I just ate raw beef suet during a day, just up to like 500 calories worth. And I did that. And I ate, like the first 3 days was just water only. And then I did this, it's like a fasting mimicking diet. I experimented it on and I got some results for healing through that experience, and which I can tell you about later if you'd like. But there was a point, like day 18, that I got an aversion to fat, and I was like, I don't know how I'm going to finish this. But I kind of transitioned away, just added in more bone broth, and which, by the way, I make my own and I love it, and a little bit of pork belly. So yeah, I'm a higher fat person. I really do. My body is efficient and runs well, and I'm satiated, and the voices are gone. The beast, the voice of the beast of the disorder is gone as long as I eat my fatty meat.
I love that. That is awesome. I wished I liked it more, but maybe my body is just saying, nope, because yeah, it's not working for me. But holy cow, a 21-day fast. Wow.
Yeah.
The longest I've ever done is 72 hours. So that's amazing. Good
Yeah.
for you. It's good that you know your body and you can do these things. And I think the more we, clean out our bodies and get in touch with it, the better we can listen to the signals. So that's awesome. Okay.
Absolutely.
So now the best part of the interview.
Okay.
Tell us how your health, your life, whatever you want to talk about has improved due to the addition of more animal foods, meats, whatever you
Oh,
want to say.
there's so many, but some of the really big ones for me, I had an aggressive case of cataracts, and they kept growing and growing. And when I came to keto and carnivore, I had just gotten my cataracts taken off and my eyesight corrected. And that would have been January of last year, 2019. And I went in for a checkup after surgery, and my eye doctor goes, "They're growing back." And I went, "What? They're growing back?" She says, "Yes, you have an aggressive form, and yes, they're growing back." And the success of all this is that I just went back in March, early March of 2020, and she goes, "Wow, they're not growing. Your cataracts aren't growing. In fact, I think they might have reduced a bit. I don't need to see you for 2 years. So see you in 2 years." And like, huh. And I attribute to that to, the years and years and years of processed sugars and foods that I ate, right? That just contributed to those, the cataracts. So that's one thing. My food allergies, of course, I already talked about that, but my environmental allergies, for the one in particular that really is a shocker, is that I had a cat hair allergy. And recently, I'm just keeping my daughter's cat for a few months while she's in a different living environment. And I have not had one reaction to having this cat in my home. And I used to, my eyes would water. I'd get scratchy and I'd have these just itchy feelings. That would be my allergy reaction. Even when I, mold spores and house dust and all that, those used to be my environmental. I don't have any problems with those. Can't even tell you when I sneezed from like an allergy. I can't even remember how long ago it's been. So that was interesting when the cat moved in, and I thought, oh, here we go. And that's another thing. The inflammation, I have arthritis, had arthritis a bit, and I do occasionally still feel it in my thumbs. But for the most part, like if it's a wet, damp day, sometimes I feel it's still here. But I can't wear my rings anymore. I probably need to go get more rings because they fall off. The inflammation's all gone. And the lower back issues have improved immensely. And I'm sleeping so much better since I became a carnivore. So, and when it comes to the disorder, I have this incredible peace and calm. I know that the voice of the beast, I don't have that frenzied voice anymore. And I'm so peaceful and calm.
That's awesome. I'm really thrilled to hear that. This is one good thing about being able to do this podcast is hearing everybody's success stories, and it's just so it's exciting, and it makes me so happy to know that so many people are improving their health and living life. I went too long not living my life, so I love hearing stories like this. And do you have any particular message you would like to share with anybody of what you've learned along the way?
Sure. I think that you're never too old to start something new, first of all. And there is no shame in having come from a disordered background. I know that I had a hard time for years I felt like I was on the outside fringes of society because of the underlying shame. And I couldn't look at people in the eyes sometimes, right? Because there was just so much underlying shame. And what's wonderful about Meet RX is all these wonderful group meetings that you can attend. And there's a meeting for disordered eating, and there's just no shame there. It's such a safe place. And we just, when you eat meat and you get peaceful, the calmness comes over, and I have nothing to hide. I feel like I'm an open book. You can ask me any kind of question. I probably didn't ever tell people about my disorder before going carnivore. Very few people probably knew about it, and I have no shame in it. It's behind me. I know the answer to keep me healthy, and just wanted to share that with there's so many people out there who are probably not getting help, that there's no shame, and there's health, and we're worthy of health. We are all worthy of health.
I love that message. That is amazing, because you know what? The shame is real. I know, because I've experienced it. So that is an excellent message. And you would be surprised, honestly, how many people have said that by getting rid of all the junk and the inflammation, et cetera. Once they go meat-based, they have this calm and they're able to focus and make the needed changes and feel peaceful about it. It's kind of one of those things that has quite frankly been surprising to me.
Yeah.
You expect some of the, the healing and that kind of thing, but that is one thing that's really standing out to me right now as being something you don't typically associate with diet. So I think that is a very important message, and definitely don't feel shameful if you need help. And you know what, y'all? Trudy is an excellent coach. So if you're looking for some support or guidance or just somebody that will listen to you, go check her out on MeetRx. And thank you so much, Trudy, for sharing your story.
Thank you, Amber. Thanks again.
And you have a wonderful day.
You
Bye.
too.